North America, Illinois, Chicago. May 25th, 1979, 12 noon. America's third biggest city, with the busiest airport in the world. Every minute, a plane lands or takes off from O'Hare International Airport. More than 2,000 flights a day. This is one of the most crowded airspaces in the world. On its final approach to O'Hare is an American Airlines DC-10, flying in from Phoenix, Arizona. At the controls is 53-year-old Captain Walter Lux. Walter has worked for American Airlines for 29 years and completed over 22,000 flying hours.
Welcome to Chicago, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for flying American Airlines.
It's 1:30 p.m. and Walter prepares to go off duty when a fellow pilot approaches him. The colleague has to attend a family function and asks Walter whether he'll swap shifts and take flight 191 to Los Angeles that afternoon. Walter has to think hard.
And then take off from LA off to Hawaii. I was just caught up in their excitement as well.
At 2 p.m., Captain Walter Lux hooks up with his co-pilot, Captain James Dillard, another experienced pilot. They'll be flying a DC-10 to Los Angeles. Flight 191 is one of the oldest DC-10s in service. It's flown nearly 20,000 hours since 1972. But the plane recently had a major service. It was given the all clear. At 2:30 p.m., Deborah and Doreen are among the passengers taking their seats. The flight attendants know they'll be busy. It's a holiday weekend, and the plane is almost full. A final count confirms that all 258 passengers are on board. 2:45 p.m. 49-year-old James Dillard will pilot the plane at takeoff and landing.
Engine anti-ice.
This is the first time he's flown the route from Chicago to LA. But for a pilot with more than 1,000 hours flying DC-10s, it shouldn't be a problem. It's just before 3 p.m.
Chicago Tower, American 191 K5, ready for taxi.
American 191 Heavy, proceed to 32 right via the bridge.
O'Hare Control Tower clears the DC-10 to push back and taxi to runway 32R. Air traffic controller Ed Rucker monitors 191's progress.
American 191 Heavy, monitor tower on 118.1.
Ray DeVito watches from the observation deck.
I was first mesmerized by the sheer beauty of this airplane. Beautifully finished in a very high gloss, shining aluminum finish. Thinking, how does this thing even fly?
At 3:01 p.m., 191 pauses for an incoming plane.
32 right, position and hold.
All right.
A minute later, it's cleared for
right,
takeoff.
330, clear for takeoff. 32 right, no delay.
American 191, on our way.
In standard pilot procedure, both Dillard and Lux move the throttle forward.
V1.
The wing slats are extended to increase the plane's lift. Within 50 seconds, the 170-ton DC-10 reaches takeoff speed.
Rotate.
But just as co-pilot Dillard eases the plane's nose into the sky, he notices he's lost power from engine 1 on the left wing.
Damn.
Ed Rucker watches from the control tower.
We need equipment. We blew up an engine.
Flight 191 is in trouble. But it's too late for the pilots to abort takeoff. They are now committed.
Loss number 1.
American Airlines Flight 191 has just taken off from Chicago Airport. As it leaves the ground, it loses power from the engine on the left wing. The plane veers to the left, but co-pilot James Dillard corrects it with the rudder.
Come on.
He knows the DC-10 can fly with just 2 of its 3 engines, and has been trained to deal with exactly this scenario. To reduce the load on the two remaining engines, Dillard follows AA guidelines and slows the plane to the minimum climbing speed, V2, 283 kilometers per hour. Air traffic control hurriedly make preparations for the DC-10 to return for an emergency landing.
All right, American 191 Heavy, you want to come back? And to what runway?
The pilots know the emergency is far from over, but they have the plane climbing evenly again, though slightly slower than normal. Just beyond the airport's runway are a trailer park and the Chicago Police Canine Training Facility. Suddenly, just 20 seconds after leaving the ground, Flight 191 is in desperate trouble.
What the?
Without warning, the plane starts to roll to the left. Ray DeVito is still on the observation deck. He watches in horror.
There are two fireballs, like flak from a World War II movie. Two big bangs with a red flash fire, and then it begins to roll over.
Within seconds, the aircraft banks dramatically to the left. Ken Berger and his colleagues see the plane in trouble.
As I break through the trees, the other officers in the training group are running.
The DC-10 heads directly for the trailer park, home to hundreds of people. Ray DeVito runs in panic through the airport. Pilots Lux and Dillard fight to level the aircraft. But the plane does not respond. The nose drops below the horizon.
He's not talking to me.
In air traffic control, Ed Rucker can do nothing but watch as the nightmare unfolds before him. Flight 191 smashes into the ground just short of the trailer park. Lowering 6 tons of metal is a delicate procedure. If the forklift truck is in the wrong position, the engine will rock like a seesaw and jam against the pylon attachment points. The forklift operator is guided by hand. The team also discover that the modification to 191 did not run smoothly. Engineers started to disconnect the engine and pylon from 191's wing, but changed shift at a crucial moment in the procedure. During the handover, the flange is on a bulkhead, bolted to a clevis. When the bolt is removed to detach the pylon, the flange can move up against the clevis. Marks looks at the flange again. It's not just cracked, it's also bent, exactly matching the curve of the clevis.